Hey, brand builder, Rory Vaden here. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out this interview. As always, it's our honor to provide it to you for free. And wanted to let you know there's no big sales pitch or anything coming at the end. However, if you are someone who is looking to build and monetize your personal brand, we would love to talk to you and get to know you a little bit and hear about some of your dreams and visions and share with you a little bit about what we're up to see if we might be a fit. So if you're interested in a free strategy call with someone from our team, we would love to hear from you. You can do that at brandbuildersgroup.com/podcall, brandbuildersgroup.com/podcall. We hope to talk to you soon.
Wow, you can only be more grateful when you hear stories like that of Chris Norton. And what an incredible story and a powerful interview, and so many great reminders that extend, far beyond what we're doing in terms of building a business and building a personal brand, to just being grateful for life and being grateful for the ability to walk and put your clothes on and go for a run and throw your kids up in the air. And I love it's one of the things I love about this industry is that you meet so many people that are like that. I mean, I have friends that have overcome so much. Our friend Hal Elrod died. One of our friends, Danny Bader, that is a brand builder member, he died for a few minutes. Like, we've got John O'Leary is one of my dearest friends. I just love that man, and he was burned on 100% of his body, and you hear these amazing stories of people just overcoming, and it's just such great perspective on life and business. And then watching people like that turn their pain into purpose, right? Turn their struggle into their story. And what a beautiful moment to see someone like Chris be able to go through something so hard and now know that he's traveling the world telling the story about how he overcame that, and through that he makes enough money to provide for 7 children, 6 adopted and 1 foster at this point. But they've did you catch that in the interview where he talked about they have had 19 foster kids? That's incredible. That's extraordinary, and just super inspiring. So if you didn't listen to the interview about Chris, go back and listen to it. Make sure you hear this story about how his life changed in a minute, in a second, a split second. He got paralyzed in a football game, and it changed his whole life. But for me, I'll just share my big highlights, some of the biggest reminders that really stuck out to me. First of all, this one, I grabbed when I was taking notes, when I was listening. I didn't realize that I would come back and grab this, but this was kind of a quick moment and a subtle moment when Chris was telling his story. But looking back through my notes, I realized how monumental of a decision this is in a split second. And so what happens is, he gets paralyzed. He has a 4-hour surgery. The next day he wakes up, he's coming out of, he's basically coming back to consciousness. And he asked the surgeon, "Am I ever going to walk again?" And the surgeon says, "You only have a 3% chance of even being able to move, let alone walk." Like, being able to move a finger or an arm, let alone walk. And the split second decision that he made, which he kind of buzzed right through when he was telling the story, was he said, "I decided that I was going to do whatever it takes to be a part of that 3%. And he kind of just like tapped on that. But thinking about it after, to me, is like, that is that pivot point moment, right? Where it's basically like his entire future was going to head in one of 2 directions based on basically a subconscious calculation, a subconscious decision that happens in this one moment of hopelessness, to go, either I'm going to allow my nearly guaranteed fate to just take its course and be the 97%, or to choose in a split second, I'm going to be a part of the 3%. I am going to have a life that is different than most people in my situation, that I am going to find a way to do whatever it takes to become someone who achieves and has the thing that most people don't have. And you might not ever be paralyzed. I hope you're not. I hope you never find yourself in any kind of, desperate and dire situation like that. But the thing that we all have in common with Chris is that all of us have to make those decisions. We have to make that decision. At some point in our life, we have to make that decision to go, I don't care what the statistics say. I don't care what happens to the majority of people. I don't care about how improbable or unlikely or impossible that this journey may be on. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be in that top 1%. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be the exception to the rule. I am willing to do whatever it takes to break free of the pack, of the norm, of the average, of the statistics, and I will go out and achieve and have and conquer the things that I feel called to. Have you made that decision? Like, listening right here, right now, have you made that decision in your life? Have you already come to the conclusion? Have you already arrived at the commitment to say, I don't care what it takes, and I don't care what has happened to everybody else. Whatever it takes is what I am willing to do. Because that is a requirement of greatness. It's a prerequisite of success. It is an absolute necessity. You can't have it without that. Excellence is never an accident. It is always a decision. Have you made that decision? So that was a great reminder for me. The second thing, and he said this several times, which was just, you've heard this before. I've heard this before. I've said it before. You've probably said it before. But to re-experience this in the realness of the situation that Chris was in, is he talked about being focused on what you can do, not worrying about what you can't do, and not only worrying about what you can't do, but don't count what you can't do. Don't measure what you can't do. Don't analyze all the things you can't do. Don't focus on the things you can't do. Don't think about the things you can't do. Don't allow yourself to be consumed with what you can't do. Rather, instead, focus on what you can do. Think about what you can do. Plan for what you can do. Appreciate what you can do. Take action on what you can do. Live in what you can do. Appreciate what you can do. Sit in gratitude and revel in gratitude and revel in the marvelous wonder of everything that you can do. If you do that, you'll be happy. You'll be grateful no matter what your situation is. And that hit me so much when he was saying, people walk up to me on the street, even now, and they just say, oh, I feel so sorry for you. And I would too. I do too. When I see people, and he nailed it, right? That happens because we're projecting our fears, our insecurities of how we would maybe respond in that situation. But I don't get even a shred, I don't even get a sliver of sense that Chris is unhappy. I mean, there definitely was a dark road there, right? I mean, he talked about every bit of it. Sounds like it took every bit of 4 years to get out of that. But like where he is today with kids and impacting lives and running a business and, married and getting to speak and do the things that he wants to do. I mean, I don't get a sense at all that he's unhappy. And that's because he's focused he focused on what he can do. He continues to focus on what he can do. He's grateful for what he has. And that's inspiring to me to go, how much how much more in my life could I afford to be that way? Like, there's so much that I have in my life that other people don't have. And I so quickly and easily overlook them. And there's even so many things I have in my life today that were faint dreams of what I had when I was younger, that would be, it would be impossible things that I never thought would become true, that are my actual reality every day. And I step over them as if they were nothing. I look past them as if they weren't even there. I don't even stop for a second to say, thank you, God. Thank you, wife. Thank you, friends. Thank you, family. Thank you, kids. Thank you, business partners. Like, thank you for what I have. And Chris does. And that's what part of what makes him amazing and just extraordinary and inspiring. And so I hope you're doing that. I hope you're doing that. I hope you're not stepping over those things and taking the smallest things for granted. And then the third thing, which again is something you've heard before, something you've probably said, certainly something I've heard, something I talk a lot about, that we talk a lot about at Brand Builders Group, but it hits different in the context of a real life situation like this, which is the power of service. The power of service. There is something so deep and profound and powerful about a spirit of service. And when Chris shifted his conversation, like in his own mind, when he changed his thoughts, when he started realizing that his actions and his behaviors were affecting other people, that gave him the fuel to keep going. And it is, I believe, this is the well that we all want to be drawing from. This is the source that we want to pull, like, our inspiration from, and that we want to pull our motivation from. Because if it's money, you'll get some money and it'll wear off. If it's fame, you'll get some fame and you'll realize it's not that big of a deal. But if you are genuinely concerned about contributing to the betterment of humanity, if you are actually deeply aware of the impacts that your behaviors and your attitudes, even in your thoughts, but certainly your actions and your behaviors have on the people around you, it causes you to live differently, to live more aware, to be more alive, to be more astute, and also to be more powerful, to be more commanding, to be more bold, to be more confident, to have more perseverance, right? It's easy to let ourselves down. It's tremendously difficult to let down somebody else. It's so much more inspiring and compelling to want to benefit other people. And so if you can find a way to live in that spirit of service every day for your life and for your business, you can overcome just about anything. Chris is a real life example of that. But when we're burnt out, when we're scared, when we're tired, when we're exhausted, when we're overwhelmed, we're only thinking about ourselves in those moments. We have completely lost sight of how our life has value has the most value when it is placed in the context of another human life. When we're present to that, the pain, the challenges, the difficulties, they wane. They start to lessen, right? They don't go away, but they pale in comparison to the positive impact that we're having on somebody else. As we say around here a lot, there is no fear when the mission to serve is clear. So are you clear? Are you clear on who you're serving? And not just are you clear, but are you present to it? Are you mindful and conscientious and deliberate and intentional and aware and focused on who you are serving and realizing the echo that that your behaviors have on their life? Because if you are, then you're probably operating from a place of endurance and perseverance and strength and persistence, because it's not so easy to give up when you know there's someone that's depending on you. And so we got to get present to that. We got to get present to the idea, these 3 ideas. We got to get present to the idea that I'm going to commit to being different from the ordinary, that I am going to pay attention to what I can control and not worry about what I can't control, and that I am going to place my life in the context of others through the way of service, in that these decisions will help me be more grateful. These decisions will give me more endurance. These decisions are the decisions that lead to success, to achievement, to conquering. But even bigger than that, they lead to happiness, and they lead to peace. So I hope you were inspired as much as I was by the Chris Norton story, and by all the stories of all the great guests that we have here every single week. If you haven't yet, please go leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, wherever you listen, so that other people know what they can experience, what they can expect to experience, the kinds of amazing stories just like this one that they will hear if they too subscribe to this podcast. And share this episode, like this episode specifically, share this with somebody who needs encouragement and inspiration, and send this to them, and just either send them the link or go onto iTunes and copy the link from there and send them and say, listen to this episode and this story about Chris Norton. Have a great one. We'll catch you next time on The Influential Personal Brand.